Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new, well, you are new, I'm new, this is one of my first videos. I just found out that it's National Vegetarian Week, and I thought it'd be a great idea to make a video about why vegetarianism is so great from a non-vegetarian. So let's get right into it. My name is Brooke, I'm a medical student, so eating healthy is very important to me, but I'm also living off of loans, so eating frugally is very important to me. And this channel is kind of all about that, bringing together foods that are easy to prepare, cheap to make, but also really good for you and they taste good. I just wanted to do a little impromptu video about National Vegetarian Week. So happy National Vegetarian Week. Like I said, I'm not a vegetarian. I consider myself a flexitarian. And if that's something you haven't heard of before, I'm excited to tell you about it. So a flexitarian, I've also heard described as a polite vegetarian or a reducitarian or a convenient vegetarian. These all mean the same thing, and it basically means somebody who still eats meat occasionally but just tries to avoid it if they can, or just reduce it in their life and not eat as many animal products. So I'm sure there's people watching now who are like, I like meat, why would I ever give up bacon? And that's kind of what I'm saying about being a flexitarian, is that I don't restrict myself from anything. Everything is still doable. I just try to kind of scale it back. And so all of these things are still available to you, but you can still have a positive impact on your health, environment, wallet, animal welfare if you just cut back a little. There's a lot of different reasons why people become vegetarian or vegan, and I think a lot of flexitarians feel like they can relate with those reasons, but aren't necessarily ready, willing, or able to make that commitment to the vegetarian or vegan lifestyle. But by just reducing the amount of animal products that I eat all the time, I think I'm still kind of hitting some of those goals. So there are 4 reasons why somebody might become a vegetarian, vegan, or just become a flexitarian like myself. Those 4 reasons would be the environment, your health, your money, and also animal welfare. These are kind of the 4 big reasons that motivate people to consume fewer animal products, and some of them weigh more heavily on different people. So we can talk a little bit about each of these kind of 4 core reasons why people would want to reduce the amount of meat in their lives. First, I'll talk about some of the environmental benefits, which I'm not going to get too much into detail. It makes sense that eating animal products is not as good for the environment, because first you have to feed the animal before you can feed you. So a lot more fuel, land, water goes into making 100 calories of beef than it goes into making 100 calories of plants. We can also talk about some of the health benefits of reducing animal products in your diet. So the American Heart Association doesn't necessarily advocate that everybody become a vegan, but they do say less animal fat, less animal protein would be good for most people. Animal products tend to be where we find a lot of saturated fat, and that's bad for you. And plant products don't have as high of saturated fat. And that's one of many examples of why eating more plant-based diet would be better for you. Also, you're getting more fiber and more micronutrients most of the time. Meat's not that great for you. And whenever you reduce the amount of red meat that you're eating, you're reducing the amount of cardiovascular risk in your life. And I just also want to dispel some myths. People say that if you don't eat enough meat, you don't have enough protein, but most Americans actually already have too much protein in their diet. Reducing the amount of meat that you eat isn't really going to put you in jeopardy most of the time with not having enough protein. And the other thing I hear about a lot is that vegans or vegetarians don't have enough vitamin B12, which can only come from animal products, which is true, but I've learned in medical school, I've heard different numbers, anywhere from 3 to 5 years worth of B12 is stored in your liver. So if you went from being a carnivore to being a vegan tomorrow, you're not automatically instantly going to run out of B12. It's going to take a while. And if you are still eating meat occasionally, as I do, you're pretty safe in the B12 department. That's obviously something that you would want to ask your doctor about and maybe consider a multivitamin, but for the most part, you don't have to worry about it. When you eat less meat, you're also going to be saving money. Animal protein is expensive. When I go to the grocery store, it costs a lot of money to get chicken breasts or to get ground beef, and it doesn't cost that much money to get a can of beans or a thing of mushrooms. And this varies season to season. It varies depending on your grocery store. But for the most part, you're going to save money when you omit meat from meals. And it doesn't really get boring. A lot of my favorite foods, even before I started cutting out meat, didn't have meat in them, and I didn't realize that until I was making that conscious decision. So pizzas, pastas, grilled cheese sandwiches, soups, Salads sometimes, sure, but there's a lot out there that you can enjoy regularly, keep the variety going without having meat in them. The other reason that people tend to reduce or eliminate animal products from their diets are for animal welfare reasons. This isn't one of my big motivators, but I know that it's really important to a lot of people. If animal lives and well-being are important to you, then you definitely would want to think about reducing the amount of meat or dairy and other animal products that you consume, if not eliminating them. It's not a huge motivator for me. It's kind of like the cherry on top. For me, the most important thing to me is that eating less meat means it's better for the environment, and then kind of second to that is my health. Depending on what motivates you might inform how you go about reducing the amount of meat that you eat. If you are most motivated to improve your health, you're going to want to reduce the red meat that you eat. But if you're most motivated to protect animal welfare, you would reduce the amount of poultry or seafood that you eat, because for every pound of poultry or seafood that you eat, that's more animal lives than every pound of beef that you eat, just because cows are bigger. So my kind of journey into becoming a self-identified flexitarian would probably start back in my junior year of college. My twin sister had started doing this Meatless Monday thing, and I thought it seemed kind of strange, but she convinced me to try it out for all of the reasons that I kind of just explained to you, why eating less meat might be important to do. And so on Mondays, I wouldn't eat meat, and the rest of the week I would. And it was a good opportunity to get to learn some new vegetarian recipes that I liked. It was a good opportunity just to get used to what a day without meat can look like. Once I started to figure out some of my favorite vegetarian foods, I noticed that I would accidentally be having other vegetarian days during the week. So maybe I was doing Meatless Monday, but on Thursday I made my favorite chili, and when I go to bed I think, oh, I didn't eat meat today. And that just kind of happened slowly over time. I don't do necessarily Meatless Monday anymore because I don't eat meat most days. And when I do, if it is a Monday and I want meat, then I'll just do that. It was helpful for me to have that strict rule in the beginning where, okay, on Mondays I don't eat meat and the rest of the week I can be normal. But as I've gotten better at it, I don't need those strict guidelines. After about a year and a half of doing the Meatless Mondays and kind of eating maybe a little bit less meat, I gave up meat for Lent one year, my senior year of college. That year I decided to give up meat and I would become a vegetarian for those 40 plus days of Lent. And it wasn't really that hard. I had a couple other friends doing it with me. I do eat meat now again, but it definitely taught me that it's doable and that there's a lot of foods that I really like that don't have meat in them. Today where I'm at is I eat meat probably a couple times a week. My general rule is I don't buy meat when I go to the grocery store. So any food that comes out of my kitchen that I'm making for myself, which is most of my meals, doesn't have meat in it. If I'm going out to dinner with people or if I'm going to a friend's house and they've made something and it has meat, or if I see a meat item on the menu that I want, I'll order it and I'll enjoy it in that moment. But for the most part, I don't eat a lot of meat. I do eat dairy, and I am living in Wisconsin. I absolutely love cheese and milk and yogurt, and those can be some really great lean protein sources, especially if you're not eating a lot of meat. Another fun thing that I do now is I have a lot of other friends who are either flexitarians, or I have some friends who are vegetarians. We all get together once a week and kind of rotate cooking for each other. One person will cook for everybody. It's not really a potluck, we just kind of take turns. And it's been tons of fun because we get to try new foods, and it's a great chance to hang out with some of my friends and just kind of pause in the middle of the week and catch up. So though I'm not a vegan or a vegetarian, and I don't really subscribe to any specific diet, if there is a diet that I follow the closest, it would probably be the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet, I'll put a link below. It doesn't mean Mediterranean food, like you're not eating a lot of like pita bread and hummus necessarily. It just means like how much of each food group are you getting. The Mediterranean diet has been mentioned in a bunch of my classes at med school, which is a really good sign to me that it's something that I should really think about eating. What it basically is it's really high in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, high in good fats, which are mostly found from plant products, and then lean sources of protein, so the occasional chicken and fish. It also allows for glasses of wine, which I think is important in a diet as well. So thanks for watching me ramble on and on about what I eat. I hope that if flexitarianism was new to you at the beginning of this video, that you learned something. I'm glad we got to chat about it. I hope that, especially this week being National Vegetarian Week, that you'll think about maybe trying a new vegetarian meal for dinner or looking into what types of foods you could be trying. If you learned anything in this video, or if you're trying to reduce meat in your own life, then hit like. If you have a great recipe that you would like to tell me about where I can try out some more vegetarian or flexitarian recipes, leave that in the comments below. And if you want to see me cooking some of my own recipes, a lot of vegetarian stuff, some meat stuff, then hit subscribe and you can check out all of the videos that I have there. Thanks for watching.